This is Dave Rogie here this morning for the Lake Chelan Sports Blog. I'm with Coach Marty Roethlisberger of the Mountain Goat Tennis Team. Coach, thanks for taking a moment with me this morning.
Dave. Good morning.
Well, yesterday was the first match in the league. You guys have now had 4 matches. I guess first let's talk about what happened yesterday and what your thoughts are, and then I'd like to talk a little bit about kind of how you're thinking with your positioning of your various players.
Okay. Last night went pretty well. It was not a good night for tennis weather-wise. It was cold. It was windy. You know, the kids bundled up in blankets, that sort of thing. The boys had a really good night. I believe they were, I should get my stuff out, but I believe they were 5-0. I think they won 5-0. Bryce Robinson played singles and won. Michael Larson played singles and won. They both won in 3 sets against pretty tough opponents.
Great.
Ryland Anderson had a pretty easy match, 6-0, 6-0, and then both doubles teams won. So the boys are off to a good start. They're 4-0. Omak, who we played last night, is one of the better boys teams in the league. So that's a pretty good sign for us that we're pretty strong competitors there. On the girls' side, the girls had a very narrow loss, 3-2 against Omak. Omak graduated a bunch of seniors last year, but has been strong for many years. We also graduated a bunch of seniors, so it was I really had no idea how it was going to look. You know, we got 4 new varsity players. They had, I believe, also 4 new varsity players, and it came down to a couple close matches. So we got a lot of girls who are still kind of learning positions and strategy and that sort of thing. I think we're going to have a lot of growth this year. But again, Omak being one of the better teams in the league. In North Central Washington, actually, and we played them dead even, I think is a pretty good sign.
You mentioned some of them having learning positions and learning things. When young people get to your level, they've already played competitive enough that they've got the basic strokes and that kind of stuff out of the way, I assume.
No, not necessarily.
Oh, okay.
No, actually, a lot of high school tennis players don't play much tennis at all until high school, so we're very often starting from scratch. There's some players on the team that did play,
Sure.
A lot of players on the team that did play before high school, but a majority of high school tennis players. You know, we had AAU for a couple of years, but those AAU kids aren't quite up to high school age yet. We're an hour away from racket clubs, so a lot of Chelan kids, they're beginners when they start. So when I mean learning positioning and that sort of thing, it's a lot of it's like double strategy, what to do, and it's situational stuff. It's very fine details that you kind of have to learn from experience and playing other doubles teams that use more strategy than you do because you know they're more experienced. Situational type stuff for sure. So.
Now you mentioned, we've talked the last time we met. We talked a little bit about that you were still looking at how you anticipated seeing things settling out with who's going to be consistently in which positions. Have you reached that point, or is in tennis, you mentioned a couple of the guys that were playing doubles the last time I think we talked, playing singles this go around. Do you kind of look at the team that you're going to play and then decide, okay, here are my players, this is what I want to do for a lineup, or do you finally reach a point where you say, okay, we're going to play this way each time we approach these teams?
The lineup has been different almost every single match we've played, and that'll continue for a little while. Honestly, probably what I'll do is we'll make a decision before we hit the big tournaments and league play, but up until then, it's kind of tinkering and experimenting with different doubles teams and singles and that sort of thing. We do take it on a case-by-case basis with the teams that we play, too. Knowing that a certain team is going to play a certain group of players in doubles, then we'll try to match up with them as best we can. Other teams do the same thing with us, who's playing singles, who's playing doubles. All the teams kind of know each other and know the top players on the teams and what they're likely going to play. So there's a chess game there for sure.
Yeah, I would imagine. Well, so now you've got your first league match out of the way. Are you now into more league match? And you talk about big tournaments. Let's talk about those for just a second. What kind of tournaments are we talking about? Are they local? Are they things that you guys have to travel to? Or?
No, we travel. Actually, this first league match wasn't really the start of the league season. It's an Omak match that got bumped up before spring break. It's a league match, but we don't get into league for quite a while still.
Oh, okay.
We still got some other matches to play. We'll actually play the tournaments in the middle of our league season, but the 2 tournaments we're playing, we go down to Sela and play good competition down there. I know that it's a 4-team tournament. It's got Sela, which is 2A. Seattle Prep is going to be traveling over this year. Very high quality program. I'm not quite sure what the fourth team is yet. Maybe they haven't inked that. The other one is the Inland Empire Tournament, which is in Spokane, the beginning of May, and it's like 70 schools, 80 courts, a lot of 3A and 4A teams, that sort of thing. So we do that kind of smack dab in the middle of our league season. It's before playoffs.
Oh, okay.
So playoffs are tournament style where you play multiple matches in the same day, which is not how a regular tennis match works. So we like to get those tournaments in so the kids get the experience of playing multiple matches in one day, hot weather, back to back, kind of that grind that you have to go through in the postseason.
Sure. Well, Coach, I know you got to get back to your duties here, but I do want to take a moment to say thanks for giving us this chance to chat with you. I'm hoping to get up to the court so that I get a chance to meet with a couple of the kids as well this week. But I'm looking forward to being able to follow you guys a little more closely as you get into the meat of the league. And certainly it sounds like you got some pretty exciting things ahead for the kids. So I know that this time of year, if you're not a baseball player or you're not a track person, some of these other programs, which are just as important, sometimes find it difficult to get kids involved. But it sounds like your program is drawing the kids that you want to draw because they have the interest and they're putting the effort into the game. Is that correct?
I think a pretty strong program right now. A good mix of young and old, a lot of talent, a lot of effort, a lot of ability, a lot of excitement. So, yeah, it's going really well.
Great. Well, Coach, thanks again. This is Dave Rogie here this morning with Coach Marty Roethlisberger of the Lake Mountain Goats varsity tennis team. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Dave.